Okay, so it's 2 o'clock in the morning on Henry Street in the suburb of Leichhardt in the city of Sydney in the country of Australia. And apart from kind of some peculiar noises coming from next door, even though they're only like very subtle and not even disturbing, but this is just to show that the military androids are close to my house and making their presence felt, even though I won't be able to pick it up with a mobile. But they're actually down just round the corner here, but the sound was definitely not really coming into the house greatly because it's 2 o'clock in the morning, but when I opened the door I could hear it. So they know that, so it's a subtle kind of presence, even though if I went down there, which I'm not going to do, but if I went down to the corner, there would be a large number of workmen doing some sort of road work just down the dead end, at the dead end of this small dead end street where that's my place there. So it's 2 o'clock in the morning, so it shows you that because I'm still up, they're I really would like to go down just to show it, but I'd have to leave the place open, and it's raining, or it has been raining. It could come down again. But it's just because basically I'm up at this time, so that's just how it is. But I really should go down and show it, but then again, if I go down and show it, there'll be the workmen there with bright lights. It's just down the end of the dead end street there. There's a highway that runs through there, and sometimes, over the last year, if I'm up this late and they want to make their presence felt even at a late time, they will do these night road works around me. And essentially, I'm surprised they haven't got some trucks and some flashing lights there, but obviously that's because they knew I was going to get the mobile out to show it. So the sound stopped now too. I can hear it, but it's not loud. But it's some sort of work. But either way, it's silly of me to even bothered to film it, but I thought maybe, like sometimes they will have the big bright flashing lights, but they haven't. But that's because they know that I'm going to film. But I was out a few hours ago. It was fairly late, but it's 2 o'clock now, and even there, wherever I went, there was, even though it's like, should be quiet tonight because it's Sunday night, as you can see, it makes no difference. And when I went down the road, there was the usual bright headlights on the cars where I couldn't see in front of me, and where they're flashing the lights. Essentially everywhere I looked, there was a bright light in my eyes, pretty much. with almost without exception. It's deliberate trying to control your your sight and your sound. And the sound was very loud from the vehicles as they went past on the road. So loud because I didn't put anything in my ears because I get so sick of it, and I thought, oh, it won't be so bad, but it actually did start to get to me, and that's the way it is. And I'm just sorry that they haven't got the bright lights or the noise to where it's really loud, to where the mobile can pick it up. But it's not very likely at 2 o'clock in the morning. They only want me to know that their presence is down there on the corner. They are literally military workmen. They are all in the military, as many people would probably realise, are basically controlled people at the very least. But they actually are artificial intelligence, all the military, as is most of the population. But the military, you would almost expect it, because it would make sense to to have even if you don't understand, as I really don't, very advanced artificial intelligence. Advanced artificial intelligence gives the impression of being a lot more advanced and a lot more intelligent than what it actually is, if I was clear on that, to be on, I would say. But it's like if you copy what you hear other humans say, if you download their advanced thinking, even though they might not consider it advanced, just like I don't consider my thinking advanced. But you see, everything is comparative. An adult's thinking is advanced in comparison with the thinking of a child. And that's the comparison. So it's not like you are an advanced human or an enlightened human, or where you understand or know everything. In fact, sometimes the reverse. But artificial intelligence, even at the even at what we would call an advanced level in the average community, or in the average person that's around, where they're not showing specific creative talents like your music demigods, or showing advanced acting ability like your actors, even though of course actors are not necessarily better than the actors on the street, in the sense that they follow a script, so it does give them an advantage and they can have many takes, whereas when you encounter androids on the street, they don't have the benefit of having another take. But then on the other hand, they don't usually say too much, so they don't have to do a whole movie script either. But either way, see, that sound is being turned on and off down there, but it's bit of a flashing light from that house next door there, which won't be picked up. Very suspicious there, to say the least. A lot of conjuring through the walls. That place is empty there. That's there's definitely something going on down here, but I can't go down because, look, it's too slimy here. It's all muddy with all the rain, and I've only got slippers on, so I'll have to not show the actual military workmen down there on the corner. I'll show them in the daytime sometime when I can, or I don't normally take the mobile out with me down the road. You know, over the last year I haven't done that. I probably should, in the sense that I can definitely show, you know, the military patrol force just around the few streets, even of a night time, and I could certainly show their presence at a sight and sound level in the daytime, but as they don't have to, you know, be there, knowing that they know where I'm going and whatever, even if I show random, it looks just random if I show, you know, one lot when I go out, or two lots when I just go a few blocks. You know, it doesn't prove anything to most people, even though this happens every day of the week and they're always there. Still wouldn't mean anything to most people, because they just say, oh well, okay, so around Leichhardt, all the streets where you go and outside your house in the daytime, there is always work being done. There's always activity. Okay, so you live in a very so-called progressive, busy area. But it isn't progressive and it isn't busy, and it never used to be like that. And it, in some respects, it's not realistic at all, but if you say it like that, it sounds realistic. But essentially they just do one construction after another within the spaces. Like, it's never all at once, but it's one or two, or like major constructions always going on in the small area where I particularly would perhaps walk, and where this house is. And, you know, even if it was really natural, shall we say, I would still wonder why they were always doing work. I may not think it was targeted at me if I presumed it was all natural, but I would still wonder why so much was being done. But of course you know that it is around you and you are being targeted, because it's not just the work, it's the patrolling, the stalking, and the obvious trying to harass you wherever you go. Like if you sat down in the park, there will always be some noise, and there will always be the stalkers around you. You know, so, and you know that it happens every time without fail, every day. If it happened even once a month or once every so often, whatever, you would say, well, okay, it's not total suppression. It's not where they're, you know, I don't like to use the word persecution, but, you know, at a real level, you know, if just one person was stalking you, but when it's a whole suburb, because they are a collaborative effort, you know, because they are all the same type of beings, the same type of people. They all have something in common, which makes sense, because you couldn't have a stalking patrol force if they weren't all in unison and they weren't all in agreement on that, you know. And I don't think you could get normal, healthy people to take part in that unless they were totally convinced that they were doing something that was beneficial, even though they would also know that it's totally illegal, that they were taking the law into their own hands. But of course, that's the joke of this reality, is that the law is there to, in some ways, to make sure that no one does illegal things. But really the law in some ways restricts real humans, and because the real law are these android, almost you could say, I think the word would be like vigilantes, that think that they are above the law and are above the law, because if they are everyone and everything in a whole large area and there's no one to see any different, they're pretty much covered. And also they only show their true colours or what they're really doing in my presence, for instance, because if you're the one being patrolled and no one else is, and they only jack up the noise and the sound and the surveillance and the patrolling all around you with the vehicles and the people and the noise program, basically it doesn't exist even if there was, say, one or two other real people in Leichhardt where I live, they wouldn't be experiencing the same as what I am, even though we're in the same suburb, because they follow me around the streets. The vehicles only make the noise as they go past me. So, it's not visible to anyone else. It is in plain sight, it's happening, but it's not visible to anyone except me, because it's set up to be literally around me and to affect my senses only. And there's nothing I can do about it, and that's it. Oh, but, yes, I'm watching the card readers tell me all about my future and the future of people I'm involved with, and being very accurate indeed, even at a detailed level, which I don't think would be possible even if you were psychic or intuitive. I would say that details are where there is direct mind reading by technology, and that simply means that technology is controlled by the God entity of this reality, not by the creator of human beings. And I'm not saying that all these things aren't, because I don't understand it, because my mind is largely closed down. But what I am saying is that whichever way you look at it, there's less interference by the creator of man and woman, and that's what they call separation from God, I suppose. Because if you choose to affiliate yourself or to connect and worship another God, those that followed Lucifer, for instance, that is the God entity of this reality, but I put that title on the God entity because that being was a God of light that, when truth be told, was really a God or an angel of dark. Because iniquity or insanity, which was like narcissism in the being spirit 100%, to where there was nothing but that. Everything else was like a facade at a spiritual level. that doesn't mean that, like the demigods, you don't have a beautiful voice and a beautiful persona and gifts or abilities that you use to seduce mankind, more or less. But at any rate, that's enough. I wasn't successful in this video at all.